again, I had people last semester say, well, I only worked there an hour. E.E. Cummings could talk about a leaf for 17 pages, so you can figure it out. Your comm majors. What was the setup? Were the directions clear? Where did you go to work on this? How is it going to impact your career? It's 2 bloody pages, people. Come on, I hear you in class. You can talk. All right, so that's what I'm looking for each time. You will see that there has to be a header on the top of your journal. There's an example of how to do that in the writing pages that I sent to you. It's also in the course packet. So you'll see that header. That header allows you to track your hours, just so you know. I periodically will email your supervisor and say, this is the number of hours I was told they worked this week, and this is the total number of hours. Don't lie to me. I will ding your grade for that, okay? I would rather you say to me, I was supposed to work 7 hours this week, I worked 1, my supervisor was cool with it, I'm making up my hours in 2 weeks. Okay, that's totally fine with me. Do tell me if you're planning to skip a day. Because last semester I did periodic site visits at places, and it was humiliating to show up and say, I just want to check in on my intern, oh, they didn't show up today. That looks bad for you, that looks bad for me. So if you're going to be homesick, shoot me an email and say, not going to my internship today. That way, I know. Gina?
My first couple assignments from my director were from work from home. So she just gave me a bunch of work to do at home in my free time. So my hours at the top of my journal are like...
But you're tracking your hours, right?
Yeah, but I just wanted to know, like, if I worked, like, from 1 to 3, like, she
No
doesn't
hours,
know
like
that.
Monday I worked 7 hours.
Okay.
Tuesday I worked 4 hours.
But, like,
Wednesday,
she
I
doesn't
worked
know
1.
that. So, like, if you were to check with her, like, she doesn't know what hours I'm doing in my free time.
How often are you checking in with her? Once a week?
Like,
That's what she
twice a
told
week,
me.
but I don't know her hours. Like, she doesn't know, like, what hours
But if I
I'm
emailed her and said, Christy, does it seem like Gina's putting in about 10 hours this week based on the
Okay.
work that she gave to you? And she's like, no, I never heard from her, and she gave me 2 paragraphs, then I would check in with you and say, what the hell are you doing all week?
Okay, I just was worried about, like, she doesn't know I'm working 4:30, 5:30, because she doesn't know.
I don't care what times.
Okay.
I do care what times if I'm going to do site visits, because if you tell me I'm going to be on site from this hour to this hour, and I show up and you're not there, that would be useful for me to know.
Okay.
Okay, let me write down your questions. I don't want you to forget, but I'm also trying to keep somewhat on time. Well written, we already talked about that. Audience-centered, which means I do want you to think of me as an intelligent person, but also somebody who doesn't know what you do or how you do it. So walk me through, but don't talk to me like I'm a moron, okay? You can say, I was doing video editing. Video editing is when you take a film or a media clip and you change the, stop it. Now I'm starting to get annoyed while I'm grading you. But if you say, I was using video editing, here was the software, what I thought was incredibly exciting was that you can do this with the software. Cool. I like that. I is absolutely okay. Contractions need to come out of your writing. Does everybody know what a contraction is? All right. Not everybody nodded. I'm worried. Instead of I am, I'm, we're going to eliminate that. Okay? Would have, would have, okay? Please use, again, for professional writing.
Is it okay, what font do you want us to use? Is Calibri okay, or do you want Jam?
I mean, I think I have in there, here's the font and here's, but I will tell you, I don't care if it's a serif or a sans-serif font, really. 12-point font would be good. Oh, I'm not stupid. I can see if you've moved the margins in. So use common sense when you're doing these things. If you are feeling stuck, last semester I had a student who said, I just feel like I can't do 2 pages, I don't know what to do, and I said, give me your phone number. I was at home and I called her and we talked through it. She said, oh, I never thought about I could do this or that. We worked through it. So if you're getting stuck, let me know and I can help you with that. Okay. Resume updates. I'm just going to tell you this on the resume. There's a reading and examples on both the internship application site and the course that you are all in. okay? So you can look at, I think I dropped a lot of you from the other one. But there's lots of resources for you to look how to put together a resume, and there are a couple of examples. Do not copy those, they're just examples. Here are the things that I would like you to remove. References available upon request. I already know that. And objective. An objective can often hurt you in getting a position, but not having it rarely hurts you, so pull that objective off. The categories that you list should be related to your industry. Tests should have marketing and PR experience as a header, and then the jobs that you have. I think just the example might look terribly familiar to you when you look online. I've changed a few words here and there. So if you're going through, put in social media experience, broadcasting experience. I want to be able to look at your resume and tell what industry you want to get into. You don't need it for this initial portfolio, follow those criteria, but I'm not going to be really grilling the heck out of it. For the final portfolio, your resume should be perfect. If you want to bring it to me in office hours, I am happy to go through it with you. If you suffered through a class where I went over it ad nauseum, you're probably used to that already. Okay, deadlines. On the back side, where it says deadlines, I list the deadlines. I was shocked by that, right? So, tomorrow you all have a journal due. Everybody knows that. Good, yay! All right, the next week I'm going to divide you up. Here's something that threw people. So last semester I had the journals due on Thursday, and people would say, but I work Monday, Wednesday, Friday. How do I report Friday? In the next week's journal. So don't get caught up in the calendar week. I'm just collecting them on 2 different days because it allows me to finish with one group before the next group comes in, and you weren't feeling like, oh, it took forever before I heard back. So it buys me a little bit of time there. I would like to open it up to you. If it makes more sense for you to turn it in on Monday, so, because some people say, I don't want to try and figure out whatever, I'm just going to put in my head, I turn it in on Sunday night, and then I start the new week. That's great. If others of you say I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd rather just turn it in on Wednesday, that's fine with me. So I want to get your preferences. Not all of you will get your preference. That's how I'm going to put you in. Does that make sense? Just so you know, I learned my lesson from last semester. D2L actually cuts off. Instead of it being marked as late when it came in, D2L shuts down 1 minute. That posting area shuts down 1 minute after it was due. So it's due at, your journals are due at what time? 2 o'clock, everybody's reading. So at 2:01, it literally will. I fought with this. I couldn't figure it out last semester because it kept doing it a minute early and students complained, so I finally figured out how to do it a minute late. But at 2:01, you will no longer see a place to submit. My strong suggestion to you is to put something on your calendar that beeps and says, 1:30, have you posted it yet? Because God forbid you have connectivity issues. If it's not up there and it's not loaded, I will not grade it, I will give you a 0. 1 0, maybe 2, not gonna kill you. If it happens repeated times and you're struggling in other areas, this can really ding your grade. So I'm gonna start right there for a second. And let me just see, let me go back to my spreadsheet. Let me see a show of hands of how many people would prefer to turn in on Wednesday. All right, leave those hands. I'm not sitting in alphabetical order, so I have to find you. So Gina, Wednesday, and then where's the next Wednesday? Sam was here? No. Billy, Wednesday, hang on, Reardon, I gotta find you. Wednesday.
Thursday's not good either.
Wednesday.
No, I work Monday. Monday's very better.
Lindsay, got you.
So I'll just submit it Sunday.
You looked like you were having a question. Like, oh, sure.
So the next is Monday too, you said the next?
It's Monday or Wednesday. Those are the days you can turn in.
Will we know what group we are?
I'm putting you in groups right now.
Okay, I'll take this.
Right now. Wednesday. Anybody else want to take Wednesday? So everybody else wants Monday. The Wednesday people, you're set. You Wednesday. Yay, you. The other people, because I don't want to take time right now, I'm going to put everybody in and randomly select. So some of you are going to get Monday and some of you are going to get Wednesday. I will email it to you tomorrow. Oh, no, I won't, because that'll confuse you. When I respond to your journal that's due tomorrow, I will let you know what your group is for the next week. Because I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm so confused.
Can you add it to Wednesday?
I certainly can. Oh, it's right under there.
I'll also go for Wednesday.
Look at that. Oh, I don't know your last name. Last name?
Troxel.
There you are. Tess already got your Wednesday.
Wednesday, but I have a question.
Yes.
Can you turn it in like the night before?
Oh, yeah, so please listen to Tess's question. I thought I addressed that earlier, and I apologize if I wasn't clear. You can absolutely turn it in before. If it's due on Wednesday, and you want to turn it in on Tuesday, that is fine with me. But if you're turning it in 3 and 4 days early, it starts to throw things off. So don't turn something in more than 24 hours early.
I can communicate
But
that
all of
Tuesday.
the drop boxes are open currently. Like you could technically submit your final portfolio today because it's open. I think that would be not smart of you, but technically you could. Due date shuts off. You will see on the Dropbox, it says February 8th, Monday. February 10th, Wednesday. Next week is a huge, busy, crazy week for me, so I'm not going to make any promises. I will do it next week, but by the following week, I can actually select groups, so you will only be able to see your Dropboxes. And that will prevent, because I know, trust me, one of you is going to be like, I'm a Monday person, I put it in Wednesday, it's there. And I'm trying to find you. So I will do that later on. Okay.
Wait, Sawyer.
Yes,
You can put me in Wednesday.
I certainly can. Hang on. Wednesday.
You get an extra day if you come Wednesday.
On Monday, and you got randomly assigned
Yeah, that
to
makes
Wednesday,
sense.
would that be okay?
No.
Yeah, I'll have
24
classes
hours.
Tuesday or Thursday.
You should not be posting anything more than 24 hours ahead. Because otherwise it throws off when I am evaluating you. So 24 hours ahead. Logan?
Wednesday.
B. I might be filling up a Wednesday group now. Was there anybody else? Okay. All right. Okay, so we talked about deadlines. I'll get those assignments to you. We basically covered the expectations I have of you. I'll say this, there's a very high standard for comm interns. So you are out representing us at that particular organization or industry. I do not expect to hear of an issue, but every semester that I've done this, I've heard at least one problem. So things to think about. What am I wearing? Everybody there is so casual, so I'm just going to be ridiculously casual. If you step it up just a little bit, you always look like somebody who steps it up just a little bit. In terms of turning things in, years ago when I taught a sales communication class, which made me feel smarmy and dirty the entire semester, but when I taught that class, one of the things that I really pushed on the students was that you want to under-promise and over-deliver. Which means if you absolutely know you can get something to somebody by Tuesday, ask them, hey, I think I can get it to you by Wednesday. Is that okay? Then turn it on Tuesday and you are amazing. But if you think to yourself, I can get it on Tuesday, and you say that, and then God forbid something happens, you're the slacker who didn't turn it in on time. All right? If there are problems, come talk to me about those. Let's communicate about, we're comm people, let's communicate about that kind of stuff. Let me know, I have a meeting with your supervisor in 2 weeks. So some people are meeting with me to set up expectations anyway, and I'm happy to do all of that. I need to send Cynthia some February dates. I know I owe her that. I want you to also speak up. And I will say that's the one critique that really surprised me last summer and last semester was to hear from supervisors. They seem really smart, but they don't say much. So make sure that you are speaking up, offering ideas, offering suggestions, trying to become part of the process, but doing it in an incredibly respectful way. The first or even the second time that you offer something, pull your supervisor aside and say, there was a meeting and I jumped in. Was that appropriate? Was that okay? Because they might say, I want to hear from you, but not during a client meeting. Oh, okay, and then you don't. So we call it meta communication. Talk about how to talk and what is appropriate. I would say don't take liberties. Same thing if you're introduced to a client, they are Mr. So-and-so or Ms. So-and-so. Get permission to call somebody by their first name. Don't just start calling them by their first name. If you have questions about stuff, I have a couch and a candy dish. I have a rad office. Come to see me. I am primarily here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I meet a lot of meetings on Tuesday, Thursday, and that's when I do site visits and whatnot. If I cannot meet with you in person, that's why I collected all your phone numbers. I'll call you, know, at home. It's just like, what's that? So yes, I will get in touch with you. I did call you, and so sometimes it's easier to have one phone call than 22 emails. What questions do you have for me?
What are your hours on Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
So I will tell you that my students all think I'm here from 9:45 to 11:45. I'm rarely in after 8:30, but that's when I say to interns, come in the morning and check in with me, or if you want to do a phone call and schedule it during that time. So usually from 8:30 to 9:45, I am setting up appointments. I just don't publicize that.
On the example that you put for the journal,
Yes.
the student listed her specific hours. We can just write hours for the week, 15.
I want to know on what days you worked what hours.
Okay.
So in reporting, and this is on the example, but on the reporting of your weekly hours, Monday, so if you have set hours, Monday, 7 to 3. But if you say I'm working at home, during Monday I know I worked 5 hours, you can put that in as well.
Okay.
I want to know per day, the hours you worked, the total for that. I'm being blinded. The total for that particular week, and then the total for overall your internship. What I send to supervisors is hey, Samantha said that she worked 8.5 hours this week, and she's now at about 35 hours. And sometimes the supervisors write back and say, that is a way underestimation. I don't think she counted in this, that, and the other thing. And then I can email you and say, you forgot to list that you went to an event, and that's another 10 hours that you should be calculating. So it works well for both of us. Thoughts? Okay, let me start over here.
Okay, so going along with the hours. When I filled out my note of intent, you said something about a lunch hour.
Okay, so legally, if you were working 9 to 5, they have to give you a minimum of a half-hour lunch break, which should not count in your hours. I am finding too often people are told to, case in point, to sit at your desk and eat something, but you're still on the clock. I have been in touch with every supervisor and said, that cannot happen. You are not legally allowed to work I gotta turn this off as I'm blinding myself, sorry. You cannot legally work more than 40 hours per week. If you are working more than that, it has to be on a case-by-case exception basis, and legally it requires my approval ahead of time. So it might be like, I don't want to say to my supervisor, I need a half-hour break, you're killing me here. What I would do is when you email me and said, I'm dying, I gotta get a break, I would email separately and say, I was reading my journal, I didn't see exactly what time the interns are taking their breaks. What time do they take the lunch hour, and how does that work in your office? And she'd be like, oh, we don't do that. And say, oh, you legally have to.
We don't do that, but it's like, sort of like, we need a 30-minute break at any time. That's normal.
You cannot work an
Take a break.
8-hour shift without taking a 30-minute break. So if you take it at the beginning, the middle, or the end, that's up to you.
So really, every day I work 9 to 5. I'm really working 9 to 4:30.
Yeah.
On my journal.
Well, unless you're, this is why, and I know when Sheena sent me the initial hours, like, this doesn't add up to the total number of hours.
I mean, I don't feel like stressed sitting at my desk at all. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, I need to eat. It's like I can get up and get food literally
I
30
am
times
also
a day.
telling you the legal expectations.
So when I
of
fill out my
this.
journal, I put 9 to 4:30.
That's totally fine with me.
Or
You,
7
yeah.
and a half hours.
If you want to fudge a little bit on you without me knowing, and you're still, if you're working 8 to 4:30, and you still meet your total number of hours, I'm good with that.
Okay, second thing, so let's say I'm completing 20 hours a week for 12 weeks, do my journal stop after 12 weeks and I
You
remember
only
reading
turn
about